And good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 173 of New York Red Bulls Discussion Group, the podcast. Garry Redmond here, and love to hear you guys, to see you guys again. Well, we had a very busy week, of course, and when I say a very busy week, I mean busy. We have basically, we're in the streak with 8 games in 17 days. And of course, we're going to talk about all of that. First things first, we're going to basically, talk about New York Red Bull, who they literally emptied the clip between them and DC United, but wound up with a draw. So, and then of course, later on, Saturday, we have Bungie's bad day as the team hands his team a loss. Man, you want to talk about a very bad day? That was a bad day. Of course, we're going to discuss that as well. Of course, Gotham FC, well, they had a very good day. They had a very good weekend. They tossed Bay FC out the building, with a loss with them, but they keep rolling on. And Red Bull New York, well, they stayed perfect. Okay, they down Columbus Crew 2. We're going to talk about how well they did. There was a lot of guys that made the score sheet, including your upcoming defender, who got in with a very nifty header. Of course, Lanre unfortunately cannot make it, so I will be doing the preview for Red Bull New York versus NYCFC and FC Dallas, and why the record, the Open Cup record with NYCFC should scare people just a little bit. But we're going to talk about that. And of course, we're going to do that with our special guest, Daniel Feuerstein, the Feuer. Will stop by and talk about the U.S. Open Cup. He's one of the reporters that keep a track during the tournament, and he's got some, definitely has got some something to say. Now, of course, as always, this is the live show that's going on right now. And if you missed it, don't have to worry about it. You can always catch on-demand recording on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And our home from the very beginning, Spotify.com. Of course, as always, we upload the episodes every Wednesday night at midnight, so you can always stay up to date and everything else from there. And oh, yeah, by the way, we have an email address, NYRBDG, the podcast at gmail.com. Your feedback is very important to us. We read your emails long after we sign off, and we like to also bring them up to bear if there's something interesting you have to say. So this is your show. Sound off. NYRBDG, the podcast, one word, at gmail.com. So, if in case you're wondering if we had won the weekend throughout this debacle, no, we didn't. Okay, we didn't score a goal during the set. We scored 4 goals, and so technically that's 1 point. But when we talk about the weekend games, we didn't score at all, and neither did City. They got shut out as well. So for the second straight weekend, the horn stays silent. And with that, let's bring our host of the show, the one and only Miguel Nunez from his Gotham, New Jersey, and of course live from Florida, Daniel Feuerstein. Gentlemen, good evening. How was your weekend? Let's get that out the way.
Shall we do the Romans version of no?
No. Miguel, we talked about the... Yeah.
I can't complain because I celebrated my birthday, so I'm a little...
Happy birthday.
53, so,
Happy birthday, man. I'm 59. I'm dreading the big 6-0 on November. I was like, I'm dreading the big 6-0. I'm having my birthday's in November. Anyway.
Do I have to give you fair warning because if JJ gives you birthday noogies, you could get pounded into the wall?
Pretty much. Pretty much. If he heard that we're having a game on that, on that particular day, and if he hears on my birthday, he'll mug me until submission. So that's exactly what he'll do. Let's talk about. Okay. Let's talk about Wednesday night, shall we? Wednesday night was the game where, for all intents and purposes, the word that I kept hearing was winnable, right? Okay, you're talking about a team that only scored basically once up until that point, and then the Donnybrook, burst open. We saw basically a shootout. But if there was one thing that was alarming to the both of you, was the lack of defense, or let's not sugarcoat this. I mean, there was no defense to be found. Miguel, you first. I know you.
Defense was optional.
That's the word of the day, right? Optional. I mean, so it was so alarming that even former legend Dax McCarty had a basic word for it that we can't even remember what he said.
Not what he said, but he nailed it. I just can't remember. Like the defense was just ridiculous. Okay, which I have to agree with. Gary, if you score 4 goals at home,
if you score 3 goals at home,
that game, Gary. Okay?
I mean, I'm sorry. You had they had the lead thrice. Okay, 3 times. They had the lead, 3 times.
They were leading 3-1 at one point. They should have locked it down there, but no. They have the shittiest defense moving all the way up to the halfway line, Gary. Come on.
We'll forgive you with the S word, but but this is a PG. This is a PG podcast all the way. You got right. You're right. A curse jaw. So, I mean, you're the rat man, not the the curse man. So open up the wallet. You just have to cough up $1. Dan, you saw the game as well, and during your recap, you had to be stunned. You literally had to be stunned.
I was absolutely livid. I could not believe it.
Livid? Okay.
I was livid because, part of me is livid. Part of me was like, you know what? This rivalry has not been what it was for the last several years. And even though they have Ty Baribo now, DC, João Pedro has been an improvement for them at some point. Still, though, you're up 2-1 at. You get an amazing goal by Jorge Rubalcaba to make it.
Scored twice.
You cannot allow yourselves to A, fall asleep on the restart. B, you cannot put yourself in a bad position to lunge at the ball and basically olay that guy and attacking down the near flank and allowing Baribo to get that second goal. You can't do that. And it all started basically taking out Matthew Dos Santos at halftime for the kid from Belgium on loan from sister club Red Bull Leipzig, Joyux Bungie, whatever you want to say his last name, doesn't matter to me. But it just looked like and felt like everything fell apart when Dos Santos left at halftime. Not on his own, not injured. I understand what Michael Bradley wanted to do.
Squad rotation. I mean, I get it.
It's okay. But, when you still... Metro, Red Bull, DC. Why wasn't Omar Valencia on the bench instead of Bungie? Why? Because at least Valencia knows after last year that this is the oldest and fiercest rivalry in this league.
Forget about the rivalry. Forget about the rivalry for 1 second. And this is to your point. Forget about the rivalry for just 1 second. Mm-hmm. I look at this as, a team thing, right? Yeah. You look at your bench and you go, okay, I know I got another game in 3 days. I can't burn out these dudes right now. No. I need to hold on to a lead. Yeah. And you didn't feature in any of your veteran players who know how to handle down the play. I would have brought in Chupo and and spell Hall. I would have brought in Big Red Machine and keep forgetting his name already. I would have brought him in, Tim Parker, incentive to calm, to put at least to calm down the defense. I'm not expecting him to lift tall buildings in a single ball, although physically he's a physically imposing dude. Okay. I'm not expecting him to do that, but at least in the sense you can calm down the defense and the guys to panic, especially when you have Ty Baribo running wild with midfield and defense. Yeah. At least at a minimum, right? Put a hat on this dude. Switch over from offense to defense. At least that's what I'm thinking. I'm not a coach, however, but seeing that man run all over again, all over the place, and just toying with the midfield and then the defense sickened me. It really did. And I'm saying, thank goodness we walked out of there with a point, because it could have went the other way very easily. And I'm thinking to myself, yo, Julian, you see this? You see this? I mean, yeah, we knew that this was going to be a young crew. Yeah, we knew this was going to be, what it is. But Miguel, a performance like this, and if you're the sporting director or head of sport, whatever the case may be, I bet your ear would be onto a phone as of yesterday looking for defenders. No? Miguel?
Miguel.
It looks like I think he froze. So we'll get back to him.
But anyway, look, okay, you back up now? Miguel?
Okay. Let me repeat the question. I mean, when you see, when you see a defensive, performance like that one versus DC, and if you're Julian de Guzman, I'm thinking your ear better be next to a phone like ASAP, dialing whatever agent you can think of or team that can spare, a defender, fullback, center back, what have you, even as on loan. No? I mean, I know you dialing up numbers like a mofo. Like, yo, you got any defenders out there? Because we ain't got nobody. We ain't got nobody.
Right, Garry. You know what? The defense isn't great, so you have the lead, but you're still throwing everybody up, Garry.
Oh yeah.
To the halfway line. It's one of these. You know what I heard a bunch of? This is the only way they know how to play. I mean, give me a freaking break. How many times did it happen against DC, right? Suddenly there were 2 or 3 DC guys all alone against the keeper. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to shut it down, Garry. Come on.
I mean, right? Like I said, I even said this in the game thread, guys. I said, okay, this team had a 3-1 lead. Think about that for a second. Hang your hat on that. 3-1 leads, y'all win the game. Okay.
Garry, and what was the stat about DC United? They hadn't scored a goal in like 5 games.
5 games. And somehow we allowed them to get. We allowed these guys to get 4. Klopp. It was on the very day where Red Bull New York had arguably one of their greatest days in the club history. They opened their brand spanking new, I'm going to call it mega training center. I mean, it's 3 times the size of their old one. Okay. And for
right.
folks,
and they put out the big guns because Henry was there.
Yeah, Terry. All the legends were there. Yeah. Thierry Henry and everybody else. Everybody from Red Bull Global was there, of course. RJW.
Marty was there.
RJW Barnabas and their peeps were over there opening new places. After all, their hospital's name is on the facility, and it's going to be a game changer. Okay. Mark de Crampry said
was there as well.
Yes, he was. Okay, like I said.
Points out. You know what? I hope that he can do something. Okay.
He's not just okay. I mean, you got to understand. He's not just there for Red Bull New York. He's there for every team for Red Bull. Okay. Yep. He's part of Red Bull Global. Now I know there's the big bugaboo from a lot of the fans saying, okay, he's got to really focus on Red Bull New York because we're the team that needs the help. Not necessarily. Okay. He has to take care of all the teams, not just us. So. Should he step in as coach? No, I don't think so. He's done coaching. He's basically done with that. I mean, you can't go from the cauldron from Liverpool, win a cup, and then you can try to win again and then go down, step down to Red Bull. I don't think you're going to do that. But for all intents and purposes, the reason why I say it's a game changer, and Dan, back me up if you think I'm wrong. Please chime in if I'm wrong. when you go from a training center like the one that we're used to seeing to this, okay, this is the one thing that, say, big ballers look at. This thing has everything. Every wish list that they wanted, every wish list, it checks the boxes. And they have ample room for them to move their base of operations to that facility. So they're all not hanging out in Sports Illustrated Stadium anymore. They're all going over there. Oh, by the way, they're not done yet. There's going to be a full-time residential academy. So they are all in on the development game.
So what you're saying, Garry, is that they're gonna plunk down the money for some transfer fees for some of the big ballers who have a year left their contract, and then they're going to pay the salaries that those big ballers require because of the training center. Yeah,
one would hope.
Garry, I don't believe that for a second. Right?
That's why I said one would hope. I mean, Grand Prix said it himself. He said, now that comes with the expectation. With a facility like that, now we have to back up what we're talking about. Because 9 times out of 10, when you get somebody you want to sign in, and the first thing they look at is that rinky-dink training center that's been dated, okay? It's nice, but in comparison to many of the other training centers in Major League Soccer, come on, man. I mean, that's more of a kiddie pool than what you're talking about. Now they got everything in there. They got everything you need. It was built to do one thing, to enhance the performance of the athletes. You didn't have it at the other place. You got it in this one. Okay? You definitely got it in this one. Dude, a whirlpool? I mean, that rivals most NFL teams? Seriously? Let's
get real here, Garry.
Look,
Red Bull, New York.
All right, they are. How many times have I said it, Miguel? Okay, they are the champions of austerity. Okay, okay, they are the princes of cheap football. But if you're gonna have a facility like that, you can't be cheap. You can't. I mean, it can't be just kids and Hammond, kids and Hammond. I mean, okay, I'm going to, before we move on to the next segment, I'm going to end it like this, okay? There's nothing more they can tell me anymore. Now they have to show me, all right? They have to show me. They have to show me. They have to show Dan. They have to show fans, like you. No, the talking is done. The talking is done.
You have to show me.
Right, the talking is done.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Miguel, they have to show everybody. They have to show not just the fans. They have to show the media that they're now serious on putting down.
Now they're serious. Now they're serious. Okay?
Oh, now they're serious.
Look, hey, listen, look. Serious now. Look, all I'm saying is this is a game changer to bring in bigger names now. And now that we're going to be moving to the international calendar for regular season games after that little short sprint, this in 2027,
which is
from February to
something that Commissioner Miguel Nunez indicated, including pro-rel. That's another discussion for another day. But
now with everything changing, and there's still more that needs to be changed, which I've always championed about. We got to move on from all the stupid, damn, foolish, funny money, however you're going to spend it here, spend it there, whatever you're going to spend it on. Until we become a real big boy league, now we're on our way toward it. The next step is finally here, okay? League-wide. Club-wise, now that we've got ourselves and the Red Bulls created that brand new, beautiful training facility, Now we've got everything coming, and hopefully they will listen and they will understand that as much as I love to see the academy kids going through the motions, making the 2-team, and then getting that first team contract into MLS.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now we can say, hey, Erling Haaland, you want to come back to Red Bull organization and be here in MLS and be a part of this? Hey, you want to get this guy, Yamil, you want to get maybe Mbappe to come over and say, hey, look, you want to come and follow where Thierry Henry
No.
Yeah, let's not.
That's not happening.
I'm not saying it's going to happen.
You know what?
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying, as an example, you bring in these big name players now. From
And that's the first place. That's the first thing they look at, man. How's the facilities?
The big, you know what? I can only hope that, for instance, Mr. Klopp talks to, let's say, Virgil van Dijk, who's rumored to be getting out of Liverpool.
There's a lot of dudes looking to leave Liverpool.
Maybe you get Virgil, how about coming over here?
I don't care who it is.
New York.
Dude,
put up the money for you.
I will take. Okay, we okay.
Miguel, I don't care what big name comes. If they come here, that's all that matters. I don't if it comes from Liverpool, it comes from Arsenal, it comes from Barcelona, it comes from AC Milan, it comes from Rangers, it comes from Dortmund, it comes from Bayern Munich. I don't care. If it's a big name and they want to be here, bring them here. That's all.
Hey Lisa, how you doing? All right, we gotta move along. Okay, and then next week on Saturday, which we talked about, the game ended, 4-4. Okay, only point they got for this week. But then, we shoot ourselves in the foot in Cincinnati. You probably wondering, Gary, why are you playing games? Why are you playing the video? Of course, when the team loses, we are contractually obligated to do so. So here it is in the next 5 minutes, the game recap with FC Cincinnati and Red Bull New York.
A midfielder who gets us started over the ball. Cincinnati wearing white. The Red Bulls in the dark kicks and underway tonight. Cowell again, able to work this across, wanted Julian Hall, and instead, Donkor, sharp angle, that's parried away. Loro got to it, brought down again by Red Bulls. U.S. Open Cup semifinal between these sides in 2017. Cowell racing forward, plays it across, goal! It's that man again, Julian Hall!
You talk about Red Bulls and how they want to play out from the back. It's Marshall Roy, he starts it, plays the ball down the side, and it's a lovely cutback from Cowell and Hall.
Kevin Denke gathers on the far.
Actually, that is a very wrong video. We're having technical difficulties all over the case, but the game ended 2-0 to FC Cincinnati, which we had talked about during the pregame show, where obviously things fell apart. They didn't even have a shot on goal for the first 45 minutes. How do you pepper the net for nearly 4 goals 3 days ago, only to come up snake eyes? I mean, it's soccer. It happens. But question for you, Dan, is it a much of a larger concern, or there's nothing to worry about because of how the team is built? We'll start there.
No, there is a concern because, obviously they want to go balls to the wall. They want to dominate. They want to just put the ball in the back of the net as many times as possible. But when you have to find a way, if you have a lead, you have to find a way to defend. You cannot continue to give up silly fouls. You can't put yourself in a position where you're going to get yourself nutmegged, you're going to get yourself beaten, and you allow an opportunity that should not have happened in the first place. So all I can tell you guys is that what we have seen in that Cincinnati game, they should have done better with their chances. And I understand you do amazing things at home, and then on the road, you try to maneuver in certain ways that you can steal a point on the road. And the way that Cincinnati has played this year has been absolutely dreadful. They've had some wins, but they've had to scratch and claw.
Right.
But in reality, when you allow a play to get by you, and it's an easy tap in for Denke. It's a silly lunge inside your own area because you got beat and you were just immature at that point, and you allow that opportunity to happen to get the whistle blown, point to the spot, and as great as Ethan Horvath guessed right and nearly stopped Denke's penalty, unfortunately went in, and that situation just cannot happen. And, they did try to come back, and they did make changes. But unfortunately, either not enough on the shots, they didn't connect on the killer passes, or like when Matthew Dos Santos took the free kick before Emil Forsberg subbed in, he hit the post. If that ball did not nail the post, that is goal of the match day, in my opinion.
Miguel, same question, your answer.
Garry, we should have won that game. Come on, okay? That game we should have won. FC Cincinnati is not a great team, but all of a sudden our players, turned into like Tom Barlow. They couldn't hit a sign of a bar.
Hey, even Tom Barlow is doing quite well. Thank you.
Right, Bergeron, that's our defender. He has to put that shot that he has on goal, and we score. Okay, like
that's hard to.
Very close up. Okay, now the other thing is Julian Hall. He's never going to get a better ball right through the box for him.
No.
Okay.
No.
And the other, there was another instance where Rebel Cava had the same exact play that he had when he scored the first goal against DC. He puts it over the bar, Garry. Puts it over the bar. Okay. There was another shot. Was that a free kick? It hits the crossbar. Okay. So it wasn't our night. If anything, we should have been in it until the very end with them leading 1-0. But our guy, Bungie, okay,
it seems to me he's
ridiculous of all time.
It sounds like to me he's going to be your it guy for the remainder of the week.
So far, he's been a disaster. Okay,
he's going to be your it guy.
He's been a disaster. Being caught way upfield against DC and committing that ridiculous penalty. Okay.
Well,
we should have been in it up to the end. But what are you gonna do? It's hard to come back from that with very little minutes left in the game. Okay? There you go.
Well, okay. Unfortunately, the draw, which now led to the loss, puts the New York Red Bulls, unfortunately, sitting for at least for now, 11th place. They have 3 wins, 4 losses, 3 draws. That's a grand total of 12 points. They also share, they're also stuck with DC United, Cincinnati, Columbus, and New York City. So they're in a 4-way tie right now for technically 8th place. The reason why they're sitting in 12th, goal difference. They're a -9 where everybody else, where Columbus is 1, -4 each for DC United. And of course, they have scored 16 goals this season and gave up, as Miguel added, 25.
Yes.
Yeesh.
Oh my God.
25 goals. Yikes. That's
13 of them, 2 in the losses to Montreal, and
correct.
1
Can't seem to beat Montreal.
destroyed by Charlotte FC.
Yeah. We can't seem to beat Montreal. Charlotte just simply threw us out the club, basically. Just ran us out to dry, which they're going to be coming to Sports Illustrated Stadium in about a couple of months. So this is, good.
We're in for another American relegation this season. Okay?
Hey, you know what? Before we go into the break, I didn't say playoffs, did I? Right?
No.
I didn't say that this was a playoff team. I said there was no way there was going to be a playoff team. I fairly told everyone, you know what? Don't make any predictions with this squad. Just enjoy the ride, because we don't know what we're going to get with a fairly young crew, with a fairly young coach. Okay.
I don't know if we call that Gold Fest on Wednesday enjoyment, Gary. Okay?
Well,
There you go.
hey, I mean, especially when you had a chance to win the game, but this is how we are. So we're gonna take a halftime break. When we return, our friend Dan Feuerstein is going to talk about NYCFC and the U.S. Open Cup, which is going to take place on Wednesday, before a certain legend takes his place on Legend Row on Saturday. This is New York Red Bull Discussion Group, the podcast, episode 173. We'll be back in a few moments with U.S. Open Cup action. A little bit of cleanup before we go into our second half of our podcast. Gotham FC and Bay FC played on Saturday at Sports Illustrated Stadium, and it was a good night for the Baddies. 3-0, one goal for Lima with an own goal, a very mistaken one. And then, of course, it was Lavelle and Madame Gonzalez with a penalty kick, and that's all she wrote for the Gotham FC. They move on to NWSL action. They will be playing on the 25th. I believe they're on 7th against Chicago. They're on their way to take on the Chicago Stars. Meanwhile, over at the campus, New York Red Bull 2, they stay perfect, gentlemen. 4-1 to the Young Guns. Worth, Neelish, Mitchell, a guy I like to see in the first team, and of course, the guy that we've been yelling and screaming about, the center back Bazan, he even got his in the 58th minute. They stay within shouting distance. Matter of fact, about within 2 points. Okay, of the first place in the Eastern Conference. So they're doing pretty good up there with it. Just they're defending champions are basically coming up where they left off and doing quite too in front of family and friends. Now on Wednesday, boys and girls, U.S. Open Cup action, and yes, we spoke to Coach Bradley. He said, "Yeah, we're taking this seriously. Okay." We're all in on this. This is not going to... I mean, he heard the stories, how they put the B team or C team there and everybody else went home. Oh, no. There's going to be starters in this thing. And it's a good thing, too, because when you look, okay, and I almost hate to do this to you guys, it's Open Cup round of 16 when it goes down to the round of 8. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock over at Sports Illustrated Stadium. When you look at the all-time U.S. Cup team, the Red Bulls are undefeated, 3-0 at Harrison. Undefeated, 3-0. This is the fourth all-time meeting. Last win against NYCFC was in June 22nd in 2022. Check out the scoreline. That's not a misprint. 3-0 New York Red Bull. Why does this stat line scare the daylights out of me, Dan, knowing that NYCFC could be due? Mr. Feuerstein, you have the floor.
Well, obviously, this is a knockout cup competition. It doesn't matter, who you're facing against, whether it's a rival, a deadly rival. It could be a lower division side. I mean, look, there's always going to be, is this their day? Is this finally the day that the Red Bulls fall in the Open Cup to NYCFC? I mean, at this point in time, if you really think about it, any matches outside of league competition or regular season competition, Red Bulls in all of the other competitions are 5-0 against NYCFC. They beat them in the Leagues Cup.
Correct.
At Sports Illustrated Stadium, I believe it was the first year of the Leagues Cup. I think it was the round of 32. That first victory in the Open Cup was a Daniel Royer goal late in the second half, 1-0. And then the second win was a 4-0 win against NYCFC after beating them 4-0 in the MLS regular season. That was in the 2017 run to the Open Cup final. That's when you played NYCFC in the league, and then you beat them in the Open Cup. You played the Philadelphia Union in the league, you beat them in the Open Cup. You played New England in the league, you beat them in the Open Cup. And the only lower division team they faced was FC Cincinnati when they were in the United Soccer Leagues before their financial promotion to MLS. And then that year they fell to Sporting City 2-1 on the road at Children's Mercy Park. And then, of course, the last Open Cup victory was at Sports Illustrated Stadium in a 3-0 victory. That's when Gerhard Struber was the manager and led them to the semifinal run where they did have the 1-0 lead late in the first half against Orlando, but then they got beat to make it 1-1. And then
It literally fell apart, yeah.
Fell apart, and made it 5-1 for Orlando City. They won the Open Cup that year. And then, of course, we can't forget the City Field Special, meaning, of course, our wonderful Uruguayan hit the big bomb from distance, and, of course, the former Red Bull striker Dante Van Zier, that made it 2-0 at the time. Felipe Carvalho, bomber, to make it 2-0, and that led the Red Bulls to the MLS Cup final. Unfortunately, fall into LA Galaxy. But right now, the Red Bulls are 5-0 against NYCFC in matches outside of the MLS regular season. So, is it due that NYCFC gets this win tomorrow night? I don't know. But all I know is that NYCFC at this point in time, in the Open Cup, when the New York Cosmos were around, because they faced them the first two times in the Open Cup, they are 0-2 against the Cosmos. 0-3 at this point in time, they're 0-5 in Open Cup play.
Within teams in the metropolitan area, right.
Exactly. So we will see what happens. Now,
I mean, if anything, that's a statistic that they would love to just simply, you know what, we're getting tired of getting knocked around by these teams. It's time for us to start knocking back. But when I look at NYCFC, forget the Open Cup for just 1 second, guys. When I look at NYCFC, they're struggling.
They are.
They're struggling. But everything is, and as you know, Miguel, everything gets thrown out the window in the cup competition, which is probably has me a little concerned here. We're not doing that much as the visitors, but I think I like to give the visitors a slight edge, because they're not afraid to play at our home. As a matter of fact, they've honestly treated our home like they own the place, in several games. But try to convince me otherwise why I think this might go the other way. Go ahead, Miguel.
They're not that good this year in MLS play. Okay? So I would be really concerned, because I do want the Rebels to advance to the next round of the U.S. Open Cup. I think it's I think it's the one competition that we could actually win. Okay? Every year I say that. Okay? But, who knows?
Whenever I hear people say it's the easiest cup to win, I'm like, yeah, okay. Those five hard games, man. 5 hard games.
And it's
Miguel can attest to Arsenal. So, they've won how many FA Cups?
Arsenal has a bunch of FA Cups. I thought they were going to progress this season, but they did not. They fell to Southampton, which is a championship. But never mind that. I think, if we put out our theoretical best lineup out there, I think we could take it to them in advance, okay? It would mean a lot of our players, they got to take their chances when they get their chances. That's about it, Gary. They're not doing well in MLS play. They're in the American relegation spots themselves, okay? So, I would imagine the suckitude is fairly even, Gary, okay?
Well,
why not us?
Yeah, well,
Go
ahead, Dan.
Once again, Gary, let's remind Miguel about the Open Cup, and he's right. This is probably the one cup competition the Red Bulls can win. It all depends on who they're going to be drawn against. If they do defeat NYCFC into the quarterfinals, then the semis, and then who they're going to face in the western side of the nation for the final, and will they host the final or not? We'll find out.
We'll find out. The coin flip away.
But the 1 year, and I hate to bring this back up, but I have to because it happened. Because DC United, under Ben Olsen, had the worst regular season in the history of that club. But
they won. They
were sucking all the way from start to finish. What did they do? They went into the Open Cup and they won all of their matches, went to Sandy, Utah to face Real Salt Lake in the final, edged them a 0-0, and stole it. Absolutely stole it. And they won a championship, and, they added another cup back then. So, look, depending on what happens with the Red Bulls with the rest of this regular season, if they do make the playoffs or they don't make the playoffs, if they do finally win a championship, a cup, an Open Cup, you know what? It will minimize the sting of a horrible season, but in reality, we hoist silverware over their heads. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, and I'm not predicting it's going to happen, but if it does happen, then everything's a wash.
They're not the only ones. LA Galaxy, if you remember, in 2025, they almost had they basically had the wooden spoon, but they won Leagues Cup when stinking up to join in that season. NYCFC have scored a grand total of 19 goals this season. 8 of them by the man who we all going to be keeping an eye on, Nicolas Fernandez. Now, according to our good friend Nicholas Lianos, they're missing they're the guy who stirs the drink, Alonso Martinez. He's a pain to defend and deal with, so they're going to be missing that dude. Okay, but you still have some firepower with with some Fernandez. Past him, of course, you got past him, of course, you got Agustin Ojeda with 3 goals, Talas Mango with 2 goals, Hans Wolf with 2 goals. Can't believe they were able to keep him. Keaton Parks with 2 goals, and of course Maxi Morales, who they're going to be missing with him, and of course Tavon Gray with 1 goal each. That's it. That's your offense, okay? But
Maxi Morales still on that team? I don't even know.
Yes, he is still on that. Maxi Morales, Alonso Martinez, the number 1. Their number 2 guy. He's out. So Maxi Morales is another guy who's going to be a pain. They have the offensive strength to boss around our midfield. That's not hyperbole. That is,
he's 40 now, but he's killed us.
Yeah, he's constantly killed you. I mean,
he's not the the goal. He's not the foul magnet he once was, but he can still give up.
Yeah, you can still wrap walk circles around you, offensively and defensively, and he knows how to string away some passes, killer passes over to Nicolas Fernandez, who can score a goal or 2. So this is what my big concern is.
And this is the thing that I think with Gary is that this is where Audrey Metmeti, even though he's 17 years old, this is the game where he's really going to have to keep his composure. Because as great as he's been so far, a goal and a couple assists so far in this early career, and everyone's been salivating over him. If you're a U.S. men's national team fan, they're hoping, he goes to the national team very soon. But this is the game where he's going to have to really, really learn that.
I think this is his stiffest test. I honestly agree with you. This is his stiffest test. He hasn't. I mean, you faced off of guys like Messi and everybody else, and you've done pretty well. But now you got to deal with a person who just loves to be a pain get this team. And you got to not necessarily stop him, but neutralize him. I mean, just keep them off the board. You do that, they're going to have a hard time linking up. They got guys that can actually do that and score. So it's going to be close. It's going to be tight. I'm expecting this game to go extra time. Hell, there's probably they're probably going to wind up with penalty kicks when it's all said and done. It's going to be a knife fight, okay? To go through. The question will be what type of lineup that Bradley puts out to get actually moved on to the next round. Offensively, I like Red Bull's chances offensively, but based on what we've seen in the last two games where defense is an option with these guys, I'm not too confident of the Red Bulls moving on in this round. I'm really not too confident. If I dare say it, I think the Open Cup dream comes to an end here, but not by much. And I always say into my predictions, I dearly hope I'm wrong. Meanwhile, after they're done with that, okay, when it's all said and done, the Red Bulls stay home, okay? They take on FC Dallas at 7:45. That game will be highlighted with Bradley Wright Phillips joining the name on Legends Row. A lot of folks are going to be there. It's a long-standing series. 16-9-3 at Harrison. This is their 54th all-time reading. Last time they won over there was in March 9th, 2024. A very nifty 2-1 win over FC Dallas. FC Dallas over in the Western Conference, if I'm looking at the standings, just 1 second, folks. Here we are. FC Dallas is not that bad. They're in 8th place right now. 3-4. Pretty much, the same area as Red Bull New York. They only have 13 points to the Red Bulls 12. And if you really look at the goals scored with these guys, they are, 18 goals scored. They only gave up 15. So they're a pretty even club when you really look at them, but they definitely got the personnel to literally knock you out if you're not careful. In other words, remember how much there was a sad sack last year? They ain't this year. They're coming on strong.
Yeah, I mean, look, FC Dallas, I think, once again, they haven't won at the stadium for like a long time now.
Long time.
And, I mean, is this the year maybe they finally break that egg? We'll find out. But Dallas has been a team that's always obviously been on the rise. I mean, they have a great academy too. Obviously, Weston McKennie is over at Juventus. He came out of the FC Dallas academy before he got signed, going over to Juventus in Serie A in Italy. So, they're doing great things over there. Obviously, they're still they're reconfiguring their stadium. Obviously, they're adding more seats. New luxury boxes on the other side, so now that other side won't be empty anymore. But outside of that,
sit in the sun.
Exactly.
Sitting in the sun.
Exactly. FC Dallas is look. They're going to be a tough track, but you never know. Once again, like I said, there are certain teams that get jinxed at certain places. It doesn't matter who it is. I mean, how many times has the Red Bulls fell at Gillette Stadium? I mean, how many times, I mean, it doesn't matter how great or how bad the Revs are. They always find a way to lose over there to that club. And once again, it all depends on what the game plan is for Michael Bradley. And I'm not against, run and gun and pressure from start to finish. I'm fine with that. But even in his young coaching career for Michael Bradley, he's got to put on the brakes sometime. And maybe this will be the one. We'll see what happens.
Miguel, your thoughts on FC Dallas?
No, it's a Western Conference opponent that is not one of the big guns out there, okay? So, at this point, Gary, it's a toss-up, okay?
All right? Okay.
I can't say definitively, yeah, we're going to stuff them because, come on. You see what's happening, Garry, okay? Defense has been options.
I'm not blind.
Okay,
I'm not blind, man.
So you know what? Let's toss the coin up in the air and see where it comes down. There you go.
I'm definitely not blind on that one because I get it. I mean, when I look at this team, Peter Musa is their home run hitter. Okay, he's got about 9 goals this season. So you put a hat on him. Right. Yeah, that's a pretty good return. But you put a hat on him if you can put a hat on him. You ain't got that much because I'm looking at the other guys on the score sheet, and the only one closest to him, of course, is Logan Farrington. Everybody's in single digits. Okay, Patterson Delgado, Ozada Uruguay. Okay, and you got Lucius. That's his name, Lucius Deedson. Everybody's got single digits. So apparently they don't score very much, but if you can manage to put Peter Musa in the box somehow, and that's a very big if, based on our defense, you got a chance to win one from the home folks, and arguably one of the signature moments in New York Red Bull history. You got the Iron Man, and of course 2 9s up on the wall for all perpetuity. That should be a very nice, nice event for everyone to see. Once again, come early because I believe the event is supposed to take place at halftime, and it's kind of strange every time missed the last break, so I might catch a break there. Once again, Nicholas Lianos, with the inside knee. Here's the thing, though. I love, Bradley Wright Phillips. I love him. Absolutely love him. I mean, but it's kind of strange how this man set the bar for offensive prowess, and you haven't replaced this dude yet. Okay? It's
nowhere near. Garry.
I mean, you want to talk about his legacy being safe and secure. I'm strutting around, but at the same time, I'm yelling at my club. Okay, look, this is nice, but we need to, we need to start. It all depends on how long you're going to keep Hall. Hall's probably going to be here maybe a year, maybe 2, if I'm being generous, guys. But then he's going to fly away, to someplace in Europe and or elsewhere.
This is why I don't like any talk about the future is bright, okay? Because we produce these guys and they're off before they can do anything for us, Garry. Okay?
Look, Miguel, you of all people should know, okay?
I do know.
Okay, you of all people, I mean, they turn on the TV and what the hell they see? They see EPL, they see La Liga, they see, not necessarily, they see the they see the Bundesliga, and they see Liga MX. Well,
that token is playing in the 2nd division in Germany.
But
no doubt getting paid a lot more than he was getting paid here.
Of course, the money, and for one of the reasons why is the money. Okay, the money is there. How many times? I mean, I've said this probably a couple of times, but I'm getting tired of saying it. I said, look, if you're not going to open up the purse strings to get that baller, right? That everybody wants to feel good about, so they can walk around with that guy's number in the back, back in your shirt, and you walking there with your chest all puffed out, being the big tough guy in the city. At least put some dollars in for at least for the foundation. Get some kids that that can ball, and I want to under those words, okay, that that can ball, and then you set the foundation, and then you get guys. Not necessarily second string, but you get guys that can fill in those blanks, and you have a solid team. I've said this more than once. Dan has heard me say it. Miguel, you have heard me say it more than once. I am sick and tired of this franchise getting their butts kicked with teams with a deeper bench than theirs. Okay? It's almost like, okay, we're going to put our best 9, our best 11, and then we're going to call it quits. I'm about, what the hell you think you did? Doncor should get a long-term contract. I agree with you, Kazulis. Doncor, we've seen this. The guy has a high motor. He's a pain. He's running all over the place, tackling dudes, putting hats on dudes. I love him. There's somebody, oh, he's reckless. I don't care. In his position, I want him to do that. I want him to be that ball hawk. Okay?
Actually, he's been very improved this year. I mean, I think the game against DC was his best ever.
It was. He was a pain. The dude was a pain. Every time I run around, he's fouling dudes. But that's what we want to see.
You know, I want to talk about Bradley Wright Phillips first.
Go ahead.
Myself. You know, it's really amazing that Bradley Wright Phillips, who was toiling around in the lower divisions of English football, all of a sudden, on a whim, his agent said, you want to go to the United States? You want to play Red Bull New York Red Bulls? And oh, by the way, Thierry Henry is there. Yeah, I'll go over. And look what happened. He's with a full season and a quarter with Henry. And then all of a sudden, he exploded when he was the starting striker up top with Thierry. And Bradley Wright Phillips became the first Metro Red Bull player to score 20 goals or more in a season. He did it 2 times.
Twice.
He tied the record for 27 goals with Roy Lassiter,
Yep.
then the Tampa Bay Mutiny, and Chris Wondolowski of the San Jose Earthquakes.
The Earthquakes.
He tied that record. Couldn't get past it, he tied it. Then, 2 years later, he got 24 goals in a season. No one else has scored 20 goals in a season at all. Not Giovanni Savarese, not Clint Mathis,
Nope.
not even Thierry Henry,
Nope.
not even Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting. No
Game
one
close.
has
17, 8-24.
18 in all competitions. No one has come close to touching 20 since Bradley Wright Phillips. And he has been one of the best and most consistent goal scorers this club has ever had. Out of all the Metro legends this club has had, and Red Bull legends this club has had, no one has touched 20 since Bradley Wright Phillips. And before Josef Martinez came into the league, Bradley Wright Phillips scored the fastest to 100 goals in the regular season. I was at Audi Field.
You were there.
For the very first time. We had to wait for the torrential downpour to stop to play the games. I swear to God, it looked like RFK.
Excuse me.
That's how bad the field was. Whenever it rained at RFK, you saw puddles forming on the pitch. The same thing happened at Audi Field, but when the rain stopped and the game started, who was the one that broke it? Bradley Wright Phillips. Broke the record. I think it was 122 matches, about, I would say, 7 to 8 less than Taylor Twellman. Broke that record.
Who's a legend himself.
Gary,
Okay.
let's not forget regarding Bradley Wright Phillips, right? That he came over here on trial, okay?
That's it.
That's right.
But
That's right.
You know what happened?
Right. That's right.
You guys know the story. Petke didn't rate him. Petke didn't want him. It took the intervention of one Thierry Henry for him to keep his place, okay, on the team, okay? So, you know what? The impact that Thierry Henry made...
Game recognizes game.
The impact that Thierry Henry had on this team with his play, and then getting Bradley Wright Phillips, getting him to not be cast out before his career even started.
He put Thierry Henry. Okay,
like monumental. Okay?
Yeah, a very important factor. We were running out of show. A very important factor, gentlemen. It was Thierry Henry that pushed Bradley Wright Phillips on and off the field. Many times when he set him up and Bradley didn't score, he excoriated him and said, he should have scored. I'm sorry, he should have scored. I set him up. It was like, he's just being French. No, Thierry is just being Thierry. Okay, I mean, we don't have there's not that many players around like Thierry Henry anymore who is beyond cerebral when it comes to his game. Everyone's playing checker. He's playing 4-dimension chess. Okay. He knows how to beat you 7 different ways, and he doesn't even have to try. It was fun watching him play. It was a joy and a pleasure, and an absolute privilege. And when he was gone, he took a little bit of the club, of the wind off the sails left, and hasn't been recovered ever since. But you have a chance, okay? And this is what I'm hoping that the team will do. And yes, I hate using the word in Miguel's case, the future, but there's only one way you can able to get the fans to coalesce around this franchise, and that is to build. Because of everything that you've done in the last 30 years, the one thing that you did not do is win. And if you don't do that in this metropolitan area, you are forgotten. If you don't believe me, ask the Jets, okay, who are they're around, but they're an afterthought next to the Giants, okay?
But the Jets have one.
1-1.
Won the Super Bowl.
They haven't been in the Super Bowl, okay, since I was 4 years old. Okay, I was born. I mean.
Guess what? The Red Bulls, the Metro Bulls, have not done yet.
Okay.
We know that.
Some people will make you believe that the Red Bulls have won 3 championships.
Okay.
I know better, Garry.
All you did was and what do I say about that? All you did was finish first in the regular season. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all it is. It's like the President's Cup. I mean, I don't want to go into detail about this. It's like winning the President's Trophy in the NHL. That's all you did. But if you don't win the 16 games after that, then everything is.
Garry,
don't talk to us.
Exactly.
The Knicks have won.
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. It's not the first. Right. It's not the first 80 games. Okay. It's the last 16. Okay.
Exactly.
You win the last 16. You a champion. In Major League Soccer, you win the last 5. You a champion. 2 years ago, they were 1 game short of pulling off, which was arguably the biggest of all upsets. But LA is LA, okay? And y'all just stepped on you couldn't get out of your own way. You stepped on your own toes, at the time where we hoping that you didn't do, but they pulled an oh-so Metro moment. So, that's so Metro moment, which has been snake bitten this franchise since all perpetuity, okay? So there you go.
I will respectfully disagree on that one because I respectfully disagree because I will still point towards a certain Colombian central defender who decided.
Well, I've said that. I said if the man didn't pull up a sick note, those 2 goals wouldn't happen. Exactly. Don't happen. Exactly. Don't happen. Okay. I would maybe 1, but definitely not 2.
Yes.
Maybe 1, but definitely not 2. I mean, we knew that LA was a stacked team.
Oh, absolutely.
But you substituted 1 solid center defender with someone who was, He got you to the final. Right.
Yeah.
He got you to the final. His one goal. Right. His one goal got you there. So
that's not the question. The question was, what the hell was he doing before the game, before the championship final? Andreas Reyes. What the hell was he doing? But we're going on a tangent right now. I want to finish up on a Bradley Wright Phillips moment.
Okay.
Because that man has been absolutely sensational ever since he came to the club. He was on a tear. And not only does Brad can get the help from his teammates to put the ball in the back of the net, the man can take you down all by himself. I point at Sports Illustrated Stadium against Toronto FC. Okay, I point towards Toronto, the home match against Toronto FC. And then all of a sudden, inside the first 30 to 35 minutes of the match, boom, 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 hat-trick.
Yeah.
He was on fire.
Not even 45 minutes in.
Freaking fire. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, Brad is on a tear. Are we going to see him pull a Clint Happy? And I'm talking about 5 in a match at the Cotton Bowl against then the Dallas Burn. Now FC Dallas. Thanks to Gonzalo Verón, going to the back pocket, the referee. Here's your red card. You're done. And even though the Red Bulls did win 3-0, they were down a man the rest of the second half because that baby came just before a halftime whistle. But that's the type of player Brad was. When he is locked off,
nobody can stop him.
Nobody can stop him.
It's just a shame, Dan. It's just a shame that it's just really a shame that when you look at the history of this franchise, Miguel, Dan, and this is where we're going to end our show. They haven't replaced this guy.
No.
They haven't really replaced this guy. I mean, I'm glad that his legacy is safe and secure. But even me, the back of my head, because remember, he is a magnificent club ambassador for this club. Him and Luis Robles and all the guys. This is something I've been pressing, the franchise to do. Bring some of these guys who played with the Metro Stars and Red Bulls back for a day. Let them get their flowers. Let them celebrate the history of this club. Let them come by, and sign autographs and get, and all that other stuff. In that way, even if you're not winning games on the field, you can able to coalesce your fan base to something to solidify that. That's something definitely going to make a suggestion. Some of the guys, that hung around, you can't just simply, whitewash these guys. But you've had a deep history, 30 years of game. I was there since '95. Okay, I have seen many. Nowadays I've seen many of us, who went to brave, the Port Authority bus terminal to go down the Giant Stadium back in the day. When I used to roll, Miguel, 30 people deep back in the days, in the early days of Mitchell's Now I'm the only one. Okay, I mean, there are so many little things that you can do that you can able to bring the fans. Something you said earlier, fans are not coming around to see this team, but you can. You have a boatload of history that you can lean on and bring these guys back. The Knicks do it all the time. The Giants do it all the time. God knows the Yankees have all-timers day. Rangers, every time we turn around, there's some guy, there's some old baller, and they still give this man his flowers.
I mean,
Red Bulls would do the same.
How many times has Arsenal brought back great players in front of their supporters?
Yeah.
How many times has Manchester United brought back great
Hell
players?
yeah. I'm talking about dudes that actually won stuff.
Yeah.
Bring it back, ladies and gentlemen, at halftime, we want to bring back an old ball and maybe only number 7, yada, 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 and give this guy his flowers. Okay.
Exactly.
Dan, we will thank you very, very much. Again, you come in and Lanre basically owes you steak dinner, but unfortunately he had a family event. And on behalf of the gentleman, he has they have our condolences, and I hope he's doing okay when it's all said and done. When he'll return, when he's ready, and I'm sure he'll have a lot to say. Miguel, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and the rest of you. Before we go, predictions, boys and girls. We'll start off with NYCFC. Dan, you're up first. What are you thinking? What are you thinking about this match?
I'm going to go along with you, and I'm going to go and say this could go into extra time. And that's when it's twitchy bum time in this derby because, the cup is on the line here. I'm being honest.
We like drama.
I will say this. And normally we don't go with the heart, but I'll say this, because I'm going to do two different predictions. Heart is going to tell me 3-2 Red Bulls, but honestly, I can see it as 4-2 NYCFC with my heart. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to break the joint.
Miguel?
I'm going to go with you know what? Usually I don't predict goals, but I'm going to predict 3-3, Gary, okay? And then the mighty New York Red Bulls are triumphant in penalties, okay? There you go.
Okay.
Well, you have McCarthy in goal, probably, so I mean, he's been doing PKs in the Open Cup.
He done very well.
That guy is an MLS Cup winning keeper. Okay? There you go.
Dallas, Red Bulls, your thoughts on this then? What's the final score and the final whistle?
3-1 Red Bulls.
Just like that, 3-1.
Just like that.
Just like that. Miguel?
3-1 Red Bulls.
I'm going to go with an FC Dallas 4-3 victory.
4-3?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Of course, as you all know, if you bet your house with our final predictions, if you lose, it's your fault. Don't come after us. But like I said,
Going to the house, we won't collect.
we will not collect. As always, whenever somebody actually did that in the group and said your predictions are all wrong. Well, we said it was a guess. Anyway. Oh, God, this is our live show. What's going on? We're about to come to an end. Of course, naturally, if you miss it, no big deal. You can catch the recording on our YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We really appreciate your support. And, of course, Spotify.com, which is basically our home from the very beginning. All of our new episodes will be uploaded Wednesday morning at midnight for your listening and watching, pleasure. And of course, don't forget our email address, rbdgthepodcast@gmail.com. We always read your emails, your questions, your comments. Even if you have any questions for Dan, everything else we read, we'll send it to him and he can always answer right back at you. Don't forget to, include your email so he can answer back to you. And speaking of which, Dan, before we sign off, tell the good folks where they can find you when you're not here.
Okay, well, obviously I'm on both Twitter and Blue Sky, capital letter D, capital letter F, lowercase, BUER, S as in Sam, TEIN. I am on Bad Dog Sports, part of now the Bad Dog Media Group.
Oh, yeah? Oh, by the way, they are an official RBDG media partner. So, synergy. And all that. I'm sure JJ, which we will have on the show very soon, he will love that announcement, because I'm sure he gave us a thumbs up on that. So
yes,
you can.
Yes, he will. And don't forget, my Feuerstein Fire American Soccer Show is also on YouTube through, of course, StreamYard. Go to youtube.com/@Feuerstein's Fire. Or go on the search bar and take a look. I will have an afternoon show tomorrow. I will watch on PNT this past March during the international break, the When Soccer Comes to America. I will have on from the Society of American Soccer History, Mr. James Brown and Mr. Dr. David Kilpatrick.
Wow.
David Kilpatrick, he's
fantastic. Man. Yeah, he's fantastic. We would love to have him on pretty soon.
Paul, you know why Miguel loves him. Arsenal support.
Well, he's an Arsenal fan, but I've known him.
I know.
8 years now.
I know.
4 games ago, but
Baltimore together like a couple of years ago.
Yes. Exactly.
4 games ago, Miguel. You feeling nervous yet, or are you feeling good? 4 games to go.
You know what? Gary,
I'm literally rooting for you guys. I am seriously rooting for you guys because, I have an Arsenal fan. I have an Arsenal fan at work who is losing her mind right now.
My mind. You know what? This is the time when Arsenal just bottle it totally.
Have faith, Bola. Have faith. Come on, man. Come on, man. All it takes for one of those pursuers of yours to drop points. They don't necessarily have to lose, but they walk off.
There's only one team that
okay.
can happen.
I mean, right. And if they slip up on a banana peel and end the game in the tie, y'all got this. So you better hope for that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us this last hour. For Dan Feuerstein, Miguel Nunez, I'm Garry Redmond. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next week. Until then, good night and goodbye for now.